Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Ed Martin here in the Pro America Report. Great to be with you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, visit proamericareport.com, proamericareport.com, and you can see all the different stuff I'm up to. But importantly, you'll have a chance to sign up for the daily email. You get what you need to know, the Wink, the Daily Wink, which is the same name as this segment, what you need to know. And you'll get that in your inbox at 5 a.m. Pacific time, 8 a.m. East Coast time. And in between, you can do the math. And so go ahead, proamericareport.com. Great to be with you. We've got some wonderful guests. I've got all calling in from Europe, Dr. Thomas Williams, who is the station bureau, the bureau chief in Rome for Breitbart, and he's an expert on the Catholic Church. And so we're going to talk to him, and then we'll talk with our friend Selena Zito. I haven't talked to her in ages, and she's got a story about Ghostbusters. It was Ghostbusters Day the other day, which I didn't realize, and she'll fill us in on that and a lot more. All right, what you need to know today, I got to tell you, here it is. I'm going to capture it in one short phrase, okay? It's the Pledge of Allegiance versus CNN. The Pledge of Allegiance versus CNN. What you need to know is we used to have in this country a set of exercises, verbal exercises, community exercises that bound us together and gave us form for what we were doing. For example, we went to church every Sunday, or some people went to synagogue, but we generally were religiously observant one day a week at least in America for decades and decades, from its founding. We said the Pledge of Allegiance every day at school. We saluted the flag. We did the national anthem, although that wasn't as common. It feels like that was a sporting event thing. We gathered for parades for the 4th of July. We celebrated Independence Day. We read aloud from the founding documents, various forms. Those were the things we did, and they were, in fact, a part of binding us together, a part of doing things, whether it was speaking words out loud, the pledge, or gathering for holidays. We were doing things that bound us together. What you need to know is that works. It's powerful. It matters. It means something. I once had a preacher say to me that your kids don't care what you say. They don't care what you say. They don't care how you say it. They care what you do, and they don't even care if you do it well as a preacher. And he said one example that they say, the studies all show, is if you go to church every Sunday with your family, their whole life they will relate to going to church in a way different than if you don't. You know, when they may later choose to or not to, but anyway, that may sound obvious. The point is, we as creatures are creatures of the influence of what's around us, especially what we do over and over again. And what you need to know is, in this country, we have had wonderful tools, wonderful moments, wonderful activities that bind us together. And the question right now is it the pledge and all those tools and moments that bind us together that are forming our country, that are part of who we are, or is it CNN? And if it's CNN, then it's sound bites. And by the way, I'm just using CNN as shorthand. I'm saying CNN and MSNBC and Twitter and all these modern media moments that are basically designed to make you crazy. They're designed to give you dopamine hits, and they're doing it on purpose to addict you to it. But then in terms of the fake news and the message they're sending, they mean to make you crazy. And I showed you this, where for 10 days they showed rioting every night. And then when that seemed to die down, they went right into, oh my gosh, the Wuhan virus is exploding. And then they had the Fed chief talk about the economy going down. They're just trying to make us crazy. Here's my point. If we are losing the strength of the pledge and of the other unifying, kind of moments of who we are and the unifying activities of who we are in favor of CNN and to some extent, CNN and participation in destruction. Is that the right phrase? I don't know, probably. The idea of destroying or sanitizing history instead of reconciling history that seems to me to be destructive more than it is anything that's edifying. But that's the battle that's going on right now. What you need to know is we're in a battle, and there's a battle of good and evil. That's true. There's a battle against bad guys. That's true. But I'm talking about the battle of how we are formed and what we do together. And it is really tough to plow over the top of CNN / Twitter / MSNBC / Fox News, all of the modern delivery messengers are designed to make us crazy. That's their business model. They try to make you nuts. So what do? Well, I told you stop watching those places, find the more comfortable places, and the numbers show that. By the way, people are stopping watching all the different television and all because they just can't stand it. We have a friend of mine, my wife and I, a good friend of ours. They're very liberal people, two professionals, married couple. They said they took the NPR app off their phone. They used to listen to it on the ride to work every day on their phone. It would Bluetooth to their car, and they took it off because they were tired of all the negative news, and they're much happier. And these are kind of liberals. You would think they'd like some. They just said it was too much energy directed the wrong way. Now, I want to finish this by telling you what you need to know here. This is important. While it is true that all this news, the fake news and all this stuff is meant to make you crazy and it's effective, the problem is that we're hooked on it, that it's becoming for too many people, it's becoming the default mechanism for the default feeling, the default sensibility about who we are, that we're divided against each other, all these kinds of things. It's precisely the opposite when I was a kid growing up. The message we should be reinforcing is we're in this together. We're going to reconcile ourselves to do better every time. But we're in this together. And it's the greatest place on earth with the most opportunity, with the most positive things happening, with the most creativity and excitement and possibilities. But we're not going to, that was the animating spirit of the times. And we had those habits of the pledge and the 4th of July and all these things. And now we have a habit of, CNN and Twitter, and it's destructive. It's destructive, and we've got to beat that back. We've got to recognize it and do something about it. I told you, I believe that the Pledge of Allegiance is going to come back with not a vengeance is the wrong word, but come back strongly, where people are going to relate to that in a way that they haven't before. I'm going to make it happen, and I hope it happens, because we need the binding together exercises, not just the phrases, not just the public statements, not just the out loud statements, although each of them is important, but also the things we do together. That's what we got to work on. All right, that's what you need to know today. Don't forget, go to proamericareport.com to sign up for my email, proamericareport.com. We'll take a quick break and be right back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Be right back.